introduce the idea, the notion of customizing the user interface for Spatial Analyzer. Let me admit somebody. Okay, and the reason being is, we've never really taken anything out of the software. We've been in development now for over 20 years. Added lots of features from lots of various industries. So the intent was not necessarily that you'd use everything in the software, but that the tools that you need to accomplish, some of the tasks that you have to do are there. And so we've had in the software the ability to customize it. And I guess I should probably share my screen. That would probably be really helpful. So let me just pop this up. And this is, I'm going to just start off talking in our classic look for SA. I know the title for today is Customized Ribbons, and I'm going to be getting to that shortly. But I thought, well, it'd be worthwhile to take a look at how would you customize the user interface if you're running SA in the manner that I have displayed on the screen right now. Let me pull this off to the side so I can kind of see some notes as well. If any questions come up. So, if questions do come up, go ahead and type them in. And I think we've got Ben checking out for notes as well. So getting back to customizing the user interface. And for whatever reason, it may be helpful, especially in a production setting where you have an inspector and they're doing a set number of tasks and only really need a handful of functions visible to them. It can make the software look a lot less intimidating to a new user to customize it. So let me just go through how in what we'll call our SA Classic look, you can do that. And the steps that I'm going to show you, you can do in Spatial Analyzer. You can go, from present to many years back. And what I'm showing you will apply in that. So to edit, two places to customize the user interface. You can find it under the View menu command, User Interface Customization, or I typically just go to this little icon in here, and it's called the Color UI User Interface Toolbar. So when we click this little button here, you have some various user interface profiles that are available to you. And I don't know if you've ever done it, but a couple of times I've gone through and kind of dragged my toolbars and got them situated and where it's kind of difficult to get them back to where I want them. The easy way to do this would be just simply to click the UI user interface profiles or customization icon. Just say look back to factory defaults, and you're good to go from there, and puts things right back to where they were. But if I have this open, what I can do now is come in and tell it I want to customize my current profile. And from here, you can decide, what do you want to show? Do you want to see the menu bar or not see the menu bar, or the main toolbar? And you can turn that on, turn that off. But while this is open, you can also edit and make changes to all of these. So, and you can create other toolbars as well. So if you have, or you happen to be running SA Ultimate, you can link some MPs, in here as well. But, so if I have like a, MP toolbar, and if I want to show it, it just shows up here underneath, and I can drag commands up to those. So let's just go through the steps that you can, we would look at doing if we were going to go through and customize that, and maybe even integrate a couple of measurement plans into our user interface. And then we'll take a look at how we do these same steps in using ribbons, because I definitely want to talk about that. And I think you'll find, or I found it's easier and a lot more intuitive to customize the ribbon bars, which is going to be available. It's not currently available in the last release. If you grabbed our latest beta, Uh, that does allow you to make changes and save those. So some of the tasks that I'll be showing you, if you happen to be working with our, and it's still a work in progress. So there's some things that we're finding and we're fine tuning and improving the workflow and adding more functionality into it. So our next release will look very similar to what I'm showing today, but I just wanted to give you a heads up as to what is coming. So um, if I want to incorporate some scripts into here, let me get back and get back to factory defaults to start with. Um, Under the scripts page, I want to configure our a couple of MPs to our quick MPs. So I'm going to just add to MP1. Let's say I have a couple of MPs written, so I'm just going to say I want to import CAD, and I've got an external file that I'm going to go to and to get that. So uh, that's scripts, lots of little handy scripts that I've written over the years. For this one, we'll just say I'm going to import uh, some CAD. And then I'll add maybe one more, and this will go in our second one, and this is going to be like a job info. Let me browse to it. That's my job info MP. And so from here, you know, if I were to save this file as a default, uh, you know, I would have a couple of scripts available to me that I can run from here. But again, it's still, you know, quite a bit of stuff going on as far as commands and icons available to you. So if I want to simplify the way this looks, I'm going to go to the user interface mode, click OK, and then I'm going to say, let's customize this current profile. And so with this open, I can start doing things to the menu bar, to the icons. So while I have this open, I can just start going through this list and go, well, maybe I don't really want the user to see, you know, user options or object properties. You know, we can just start deleting, you know, items that, you know, we don't expect or anticipate them to use by just right clicking and deleting up here in the tree bar. Um, I can also incorporate other commands. I can add another toolbar. So if I want to come in here and call this my MP toolbar, I can pop that in here and let's show it. So I can see a little icon or a little uh, toolbar beginning to build over here. So if I go to commands, very next screen, and just let's go down to scripts where I've plugged in MP1 and MP2, I can just drag these up and drop them into this toolbar. And it will continue to expand. I can right click on that MP and let's say that was my import CAD. This second one was my job info. So I'm just going to type in the name and hit enter for job info. I can also go up here and tell it, you know, I want to incorporate maybe an image, you know, into this. And maybe that's not a clear enough image, so I can say image and text. Job info, maybe I'll make it's like a pencil because I'm recording information. So I can just say, let's show image and text. And if I want to have this little pipe separator between these to help differentiate, just simply select one of these icons and tell it, hey, I want to begin a new group. So that will put the little pipe in between it. So it does separate it nicely to make it where you can see it. Also, while this is open, it's not just the toolbars with the icons that you can affect. You can also change, you know, various commands. So, you know, if you don't want them to see, you know, all of these functionalities, you just simply expand a menu command and just, you can tell it, let's just start deleting, uh, you know, password protection. You just seldom used features that you might have. And then if you want to just simply remove a section altogether, you can just say, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see analysis. I'm not going to have them going into relationships while they're working. I'm just going to have them inspecting a part. And, query scripts is like, maybe since I got an MP thing, toolbar in here, they don't need the scripts tab. I'm just going to put everything that they need right in here. And then you can start laying out the workflow if you wanted to from a left to right. So here we've got a user manual, which could be helpful. We've got a new file, open file, import CAD, save. We're going to add an instrument, run the instrument. So maybe the next thing we want to do after we run the instrument is maybe do some kind of quick align. So if I go to the instrument tab, I can find locate or quick align to CAD and just simply drag it out of here and just drop it maybe up in here after I run the interface. And again, if I select this and tell it we're going to begin a new group, I get a nice little separation between these two commands. So we'll do a quick align to CAD. That gets me lined up. Maybe we want to, I'm going to import in my CAD, so I want to build annotations, from or build feature checks from the annotation. So we can add a command to, let's build GD&T feature checks from all CAD annotations. We'll drop that in, somewhere up in here. Under view, there's a command down here to maybe show the toolkit bar. So maybe I want to have that as an available option for them to use. So, and I'll probably just come in here and just begin a group between each one because these are pretty lengthy and I don't want them running together. But hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of what we can do. So I've got GD&T feature checks. I'm going to show the toolkit bar. I go back to GD&T. We can maybe add a feature in here where we're going to do our feature inspection auto filter for all checks. We'll evaluate all feature checks. And then maybe under reports, we can add SA report or yeah, I don't know. That's, we can just maybe add an SA report into here. And so that enables us to come in. And so now that I've got this done to this point, what I want to do before I get all the way out of here. So if I close this particular dialog, before I exit out of here, I want to save this current profile and just give it a name like, easy, easy SA or something like that. And so what happens is it saves this profile. So and I'll show you where it saves it. But I can take these profiles that I have and put those into a template folder under the C drive, C Analyzer Data Templates. And as long as I have these SA profile files on a computer, I have all of these various profiles that I can utilize. So once I save it here, it's just kept right in here. So C Analyzer Data Templates, and you'll see I've got easy SA profile. I've got an inspection SA profile. I've got quick MPs SA profile with MP. So just various ones that I've set up and looked around. So you can toggle back and forth. So once you make a change, go ahead and just be brutal with it and just you can't really mess it up because you can just simply go back to factory defaults and put things back exactly the way they were. But, I can come back to easy SA. Here's my MPs. I had one in here called inspection that really just dropped down the menus and had it to where basically I would get the job info, import the CAD, start it up, run the instrument interface, do a quick align, make feature checks, scan it, filter, evaluate, and be able to kick out the report. So as you go through these again, so if I wanted to add another function in here, customize current profile, and maybe not show the MP bar, we'll turn that off. So you can play around with these and set these however you want to, show what you want. Once I close it, I need to save back over this if I want it to show up this way again. And you would just simply say save current profile, and you would type in the name exactly how you had it typed. Like inspection, it'll tell you, oh, you've already got that. So yeah, just override it. And so now I've changed it so that my inspection profile no longer has those empties in there. So that's just kind of a nice way that you can utilize current SA to really customize your user interface to just get it down to what features you want to be seen. And again, if you've got a production setting, you can really simplify for the user and only present to them the functions and operations that you want them to have. Of course, the downside to that is, they'll only have, a limited number of tools available to them. But in many cases, that's absolutely fine because they have other jobs, and inspection is just part of one of their tasks that they've got to do. So they know how to measure step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and move through it. So you can lay out the user interface to really support that particular workflow. Now, if you're running 2019 May SA or later, uh, you have access to ribbons. But what you'll find in those versions, and once we come out with our next release, you won't really have to worry about this stuff. But if I'm running a custom user interface and I want to switch over to ribbons, step 1 is to put it back to factory defaults. And we'll close out of this. And then you can switch over to ribbons. So I'm going to go to user options to do this. So, and it's found down here in the lower right, show ribbon bar, and it will force me to restart SA. So I'll do that, close SA, and we'll get it going again. And so now I'm running it, Spatial Analyzer with the ribbon menu. And this is, I've been with New River Kinematics since 2009. We've been using the software, or I've been using the software since probably 2003 and 2004. And so I was really, I knew where everything was with the other layout. However, uh, once I started using ribbons, this is now my go-to uh, user interface for SA. I much prefer working with the ribbon bar now than the other menus. It's just I like the way it's laid out. So you have home, you have a number of tabs up in here. I have instruments, so it's just kind of all things instruments for help. There's our quick start guides to add an instrument, connect the instrument, locate the instrument. And I kind of like the left to right flow for a lot of this. For alignments, anything that where I'm doing any kind of alignment, I can find under this tab. It's what we call relationships. But if I'm measuring circles, planes, cylinders, slots, any geometries, this is where I'll find that. And then construction, anything with clouds and surfaces, GD&T reporting, scripting, and also help. Um, However, that said, there's still a lot of commands that are available to you, here. So what we've done, and one thing that I think right out of the gate when we introduced this was it sure would be nice to be able to create your own tab and just put, the functions in here that you want. So that's what's coming. So if you download the beta, and I'll go ahead and do the shameless plug here, but I'll go to our home page, and under Spatial Analyzer, we have this, well, a couple places. I can go to download. It'll ask for some information. You hit submit, and you have ability here for the SA beta program. So you can click here to download the current beta, and we make that available. So I kind of expect our next beta will probably be out early next week. But then also under SA community, and I wanted to point this out to you as well. We have articles on certain features that you can do. But let me go back to our home page on our essays community, but under spatial analyzer, we've had under what's new. Of course, this has been here a long time, but what's new and what's new is when you click on like for the July release, Jeremy has begun to add videos of some of the features as we've added them in. So it's nice to be able to read about them, but you know, when you can look at a video and just simply click that link, if you have access to YouTube, you can actually see it. And it's just kind of a quick video to describe, here's this new thing that we've added to SA, here's how we intended it to be used. And I found them to be just extremely helpful in learning how to utilize some of the new functionality that we are continually adding to the software. So there'll be something on ribbons coming with the release as well. So watch for the West. So let's get to the good stuff here. So I'm going to customize the user interface much like I did with the other one, but I think you'll find it a bit simpler. So to do this, we have this used to be file menu, but we call it our backstage. And so in here under options, there's a couple of things to point out. You have this quick access toolbar, and what this is referencing are these icons that you can add across the top. And so by, out of the box, our default will give you new file, CAD import, open, save, rendering, auto scale, and then F2 select and the enter button. But you can certainly add more functions up across the top, and these just are always visible to you regardless of what tab that you happen to be in. If I go to customize ribbon, here's where basically we're saying what to show. So here you can see everything's checked in here. One nice feature I found very nice is I knew where everything was in the other menu command, menu-based layout. This one, maybe not so much, but if I want to know where, let's say, maybe bundle, if you have theodolites and you do a search, I can actually find, oh, okay, bundle adjust is under alignment, under network alignments, and it's here. And so now that I know where that is, I can come over to alignment tab, network alignments in bundle adjustment. Okay, so it can save me a little bit of time, searching for commands maybe that I don't go to that often. But let's take a look at customizing the ribbon tab. So you can come in now and in this, and let's say maybe I'm not scanning, so I can turn cloud and surfaces off. Maybe we're not running scripting with a particular task, so I can turn that off. If I hit apply here, we can say keep changes, and you can see how my menu tabs now I'm getting fewer choices to pick across the top. In fact, I could maybe uncheck a number of them and hit apply and just greatly reduce the ribbon bar down in here. So the nice thing about this is, once I hit OK, I'm not necessarily have to worry about saving this as a profile and getting back into it. It's just whenever I launch SA, this is what's going to come up each time. And to get data back, I can go back to the backstage, the options button, and go to the customize ribbons. So it's not just limited to turning entire features off. I could also expand this out and say, decide what I don't want to show. So for the instrument specific controls, maybe we don't have theodolites or laser projectors, so there's no point in showing that. For alignments, maybe, for, an arm alignment where I'm just doing a simple part inspection, I've only got one instrument position, I don't have to worry about USMN or some of those, so I can start turning some of these features off when I hit apply. Okay, and so now under alignments, it's a reduced list, a little simpler, choices for the operator to find. And then to the point to where you can even come in and just say, well, I want to just create a brand new tab, and let's just call this my NRK part inspection here. So I'll say that's and I'm going to have a new group. So I'm going to maybe import in my CAD for this particular group. And so, maybe I don't even want to have, any other tabs showing other than my NRK part inspection. And so under CAD, I'm going to add a new button. And so let's call this one import CAD. And if I have an MP, I can actually come in here and tell it, well, let's use this little measurement plan that I wrote to import my MP in inches. I can tell it I'm going to use a custom bitmap icon. So these are pretty easy to find or create even. So I found one here. So I took a screenshot, made a bitmap out of it. That's going to become my icon. And I'm going to tell just a tooltip down in here to say this is going to import CAD in inches. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit apply changes. And so we'll have NRK part inspection, import CAD shows up, and now it's linked to a measurement plan, so it's actually going to import in my CAD model. I turned all that off. Let's go back to options again. So we keep playing around with this. We'll customize our ribbon mode. I'll come in here and just turn all those off. There we go. So it comes down to that. So I've got this in here. It's in CAD. So maybe I want to add into here a new group, and maybe we'll call this our instrument. So under the instrument, let's add a new button. In this case, I don't have to have an MP command. In fact, if you're running SA Pro, you can do all this. You just need to assign it a new button. So we're going to say add arm. In this case, I have an arm available to me. Ribbon, assign a command. And now it's just coming over to, well, that would be under the instrument tab. So we're going to list everything in here. So it's taking a little while to populate this list because there's a lot of commands in here. Let's hit add instrument and assign that right there. And so this adds an instrument to the current job file. Click OK. And so we start seeing, things build up in here. So we'll add it. We'll add a new button. We want to also, I'll assign to start the instrument interface. Again, have to let it build the list. So I think this is where we're going to see some changes come in. The developer thought she had an idea to make this populate a little faster and also be able to make sure we always have a complete list of functions that you can pick and without causing other issues in the software. So we'll assign our portable arm in here, and I'm going to say this is going to run interface. Oof. So that allows me to run the interface. Maybe the next thing in here, maybe I want to go ahead inside of this group and let's add a new button, and we want to maybe under view, under home, there's a command to pop open the instrument or the toolkit inspection bar. So let's find that command. Say I want to pop open the inspection bar. And before we do that, I probably want to take my CAD that I've imported, maybe even put it under CAD. I can add a new button in here to say, well, let's go to our GD&T. And we will go ahead and make feature checks from all our CAD annotations. So that when I pop open the inspection bar, I can just start lining into them And then once I measure the datums, maybe we add another button from the GT to do a datum alignment. So I think maybe, that's enough to kind of give you the idea of the flow of this. So if I hit apply, we'll keep these changes. But one of the cool things that we have with this, I think it's kind of neat, is I can save this and let's export this to an XML file. And so let me get back to, I guess, where I was working. Scripts, ribbons. So let's call this one our inspection flow. XML. So I can save that out. So that saves as an XML file. I hit OK. And that is being stored again under a template directory under templates. Inspection. We have SA ribbon, simple SA, inspection SML. Save it. Save it. We go back to options again. Customize ribbon. So we have this one, export to XML file. Oh, you can write these out to anywhere. They don't have to go in. So you can put them anywhere you want to. The SA ribbon XML goes to templates by default so that it knows to read it in there. But if I want to store them all there, it kind of makes sense to do that. So we'll call this one our inspection flow XML file, and it's all it is. So it's saved again wherever you want it to. But if you put it in templates, it's XML. If I come in and I edit it, pop open the note, it is an XML file. So you could edit this outside of SA if you dare. But it's certainly doable. It's just got all the commands in here, what's being shown, what's being hidden as an XML format. And so, if I were to come back and say, let's just restore everything back to defaults. And so now we can see we got our normal menu back, and I have that XML file maybe somewhere on the server. We can say, let's not export, let's import our SML file, and it's going to, modify. So we'll say this our inspection flow XML. Hit OK. We have our NRK part inspection, and so that's what the operator sees when they're out there on the floor. They import in their CAD model. They make GD&T from all the CAD, the feature checks from the annotations. They can add the instrument. They can launch the instrument interface. We can pop open the inspection bar so that they can start measuring through these features. So again, just kind of greatly reducing the number of available commands. But I think with the ribbons, you're going to have a lot more flexibility. And again, I find it to be, you got to kind of work with it a little bit but it seems a lot more intuitive to me. And I think a lot more flexible. And all these are also where you can, uh, if you have SA Ultimate and you use a measurement plan, that's fully supported in measurement plan to call, these XML files to show the ribbons the way that you want to, and gives you just lots of control over all of this. So that's kind of, I went over my 30 minutes of time, but hopefully that's something you can find useful in ribbons, and then also in SA classic mode, if that's the user interface that you have to be working in. Hopefully we've kind of stirred up your imagination a bit as to how you might begin to customize and play the spatial analyzer too. I think it could help improve your workflow, your training, and just make the software a little bit more user friendly for the operator. So this is recorded, so we'll be posting it to the website so that you have access to it. And I appreciate everybody uh, joining us, and if you have questions, be sure to just go ahead and type them in. We'll do our best to get answers out to you. Uh, Call your local AE and regional managers and request visits to come by, and we'll gladly come out and show you what's new and try to help you in your particular environment. So, thanks everybody.